Last Saturday, he showed up for me. I'm sitting at my computer. I got nothing. I'm reading this story. I'm like, I can't preach this on Mother's Day. I got to the end and I saw the point of the text. You know, go home and tell them what God has done for you. Go home. I thought, Lord, I need something. I need a story. I need something to tie this all together. How can I communicate this? And Nicky Cruz pops into my mind. I hadn't thought about Nicky Cruz in 20 years. I'm like, Nicky Cruz. Maybe this is something. So I get on Google and I Google Nicky Cruz and a bunch of stuff comes up and I see his testimony video. I start watching. It's like 9 minutes long. And as he's telling his story about growing up in this demon house in Puerto Rico, I think, wow, kind of matches my demon story. And then I see what he turned into. He was an animal, and I thought he's like the demon-possessed guy in this story. And I start to see the correlations. But I knew that God wanted to get me to this, go home and tell them what God has done for you. And as the story went on and on and on and on, I just thought, oh, it's not going to get there. This is a waste of time. And then right at the end, like 14 seconds left in the video, you can tell because it's got that little counter on the bottom, you know, and I'm just watching it on the bottom. 14 seconds left in the video. He says, you know what? God has used me. It's such a joy. God has used me to see tens of thousands of people put their trust in Christ. But the greatest day of my life was the day that my mom said yes to Jesus. Ding, 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 ding. Seriously. And I'm like, tell me the story, tell me the story. And he's done, and the interviewer comes on, and she says, you know, he tells the story about how his mom came to Christ in his new book, Soul Obsession, and it's the end of the video. And I'm just like, it's 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. I'm preaching tomorrow morning. I don't know if I'm just running on a rabbit trail here. I don't have that book. Jesus, I've got this little crumb, this little breadcrumb of this story. All right, I'll give it to you. Do something. And I thought, you know what? I could go on iTunes and see if I could download it into my iBooks. Oh, yeah. So I get on iTunes, and sure enough, there it is. I download Soul Obsession. It comes into my iPad. I click on it. I'm like, how do I find this story? It's a 400-page book. And so in the search, I just put mother in the search. And phew, the story comes up. I start to read it. Remember that story I read to you last week? Not only was it go home and tell what God has done for you, it was like a Mother's Day story, too. And I sat in my office, and I literally just said, Jesus, you are so nice to me. You're so nice to me. And then I stood up here last week, and I fed you with that story. And the only reason I could is because I had this little breadcrumb that I gave to him, and he multiplied it for you. Isn't it beautiful? When we just give him what we've got and we're available, and he shows up.